IPA family? It's your boy L APA coming through with another video. You guys already know what we do up in this channel, kicking them tails of caution for the youngsters. Yes, even the reoffenders, so they could stay out the system or not go back, right? Um, and as you could tell by the good old caption, that uña, that thumbnail, man. Bulldog with the right with the Bulldogs. And this one right here, man, obviously, man, I want to emphasize early on. I usually don't emphasize it to the end of the video, but youngsters, if you're listening to this, man, trust me, you don't want to get caught in this one of these situations, because it's one of the scariest things that I've ever had to do. But there could be no courage without fear, and that's what makes us men. That's what makes us courageous sometimes. But anywho, I digress. So I'm gonna take you back for some of the stores you guys may be familiar with. Um, New Corcoran. That was a sad FC yard. For those of you that want details, um, and we were on that 2-year lockdown, almost 2-year lockdown before I left, and I was there for almost five. I was there for a long time. I was blessed enough to drop points, and barely went to Pleasant Valley to B yard level 3. I was supposed to go to Ironwood or Centinela again, because I had came from C yard and Centinela from the 270 level 4 there. So when I get to the bus, they hadn't given me an endorsement though, but they had put me up. CSR had put me up for transfer to one of those two places, like I said, and I was eagerly waiting a transfer. And this is gonna be my first time on a level 3, and I was just like, and my celly, he was never gonna see a level 3. He had just came from doing a pegada, like an attempted murder pegada. Came from Corcoran Shoe, was there for 3 years. On his first pegada, I'd been down 10 years at the time. He did it in high desert, and he had a hell of a lot of points, you know. And so everybody that's never made it, see, there's this thing. There's homies in there, unfortunately, that have some arrogance in them, and they look down on people, on homies that are level 3s or gonna go to a level 3. Um, Most of them don't even want to go to a level 3 because they want to have that superiority complex of, I'm on a 180, I'm on a level 4. That's the type of time I do. What, Disneyland? Golly, homie, I don't go no Disneyland. It is what it is. It happens everywhere. They even have that tribalism. They even have it within prisons, right? Like there's even 180s that other dudes see as weak, and other fools see other 180s as strong. Like the Pelican Bay thing, right? I call it Pelican Bay syndrome. If you're not in Pelican Bay, you ain't nowhere. When the reality is that any 180, you could get killed, right? And any 180, there's been wars. But I will say this: the two most political ones are New Corcoran and Pelican Bay. Those are the top two, in my opinion. But it cracks everywhere. High desert is dangerous. Salinas Valley is dangerous. Every 180 is dangerous. It just has different reputations, right? And different mentalities. And even in Pelican Bay, there's A yard and B yard, and the homies are like, you came from A yard, from B yard, because B yard was considered more active because of the riot thing, I guess, or something like that, right? Um, yeah, it was considered the crazy yard, right? But if you're in Pelican Bay, you're in Pelican Bay. But it just give you an example of some homies that I call them purists. They look down on other dudes because everybody wants to be at the top of the top, even between shoes, right? It's Pelican Bay shoe the top, corporate shoe second, and Tehachapi's like, it's almost like that's not the shoe, like, but it is. It's the shoe. And the homies that feed into it, they're like, they're senores there and everything. It's a shoe, I'm like, man, the shoe's a shoe. Whether you be an AdSec or not, you're doing lockdown time, bro. It don't matter which one, where you are, you know. But I always thought it was unfortunate. But case in point, Pleasant Valley. I find out that I'm going to Pleasant Valley when I get on the bus. The dude, the cop has the roster, and a couple dudes, like I guess a couple dudes got put on the bus as add-ons, like me, and they were asking. So I was like, hey, ACO, told him my number. Hey, where am I going to? He said, oh, Pleasant Valley. I was like, what, Pleasant Valley? I'm like, man, I don't even remember. What was the last thing I heard about Pleasant Valley? Like, I had a home with her in 2001 or something like that, or 2003, one of those 2 years, and the Bulldogs were on site. And I had to remember, I had heard that they took the Bulldogs out, but I don't know. I quite frankly did not know what I was going to. And I'm thinking, like, damn, I'm supposed to go to level 3 program, do my thing. I don't give a fuck. I had already done my thing. Yeah, maybe I would have gone back up, whatever. But anywho, um, I had done what, about 7 years, like 7, 8 years into my term, level 4 time. I was cool. I was all right, cool. Let me go kick my feet up, and as much as it's allowed, because it is prison still. But anywho, they sent me to Pleasant Valley. I get to Pleasant Valley, man, and an R&R. You go through diagnostics, you go through all that, um, and finally, when they come pick us up, I'm still wondering we're on lockdown or not, because we don't know shit. And sure enough, he comes. All right, B yard. Turn around. You guys are on modified program. I was like, fuck. Cuffed me. Behind my back. I was like, damn. So I'm getting there. Off the top, I know that there's Bulldogs there. It has to be them. What are the reason, right? Turns out there was Bulldogs and Norteños, and it was a war zone. And in Pleasant Valley, that B yard level 3. For those of you guys that know and you guys remember this shit, that fucking yard was more dangerous than some fucking 270 level 4s and even some 180 yards, honestly, because you had all the factions there. You even had New Flowers and see. It was just a prison that was off the hook. Everybody was on site, and the warden was not keeping the victims on lockdown. Whoever the aggressor was, that's who was staying on lockdown. So I went from almost a 23-month lockdown to another lockdown. I was like, damn, they had been on lockdown 16 months there, the camaradas. And these dudes are on site. They had been on lockdown systematically for so long that the homies were kind of bending the rules. And instead of rushing the Bulldogs on site, they were waiting for all the homies to go first, second, and third draw. And then they were kicking off the riot. And when I got there, a lot of camaradas got there that had came from a level 4. And we were like, nah, homie, we're not going to do that. This shit's on site. This is our career. What the fuck? And I was one of them. And I told, nah, I got him up a locator. And I'm like, hey, bro, no, hey, I'm humbly speaking. Hey, homie, I ain't putting my career in jeopardy because you guys want to go to store. I get it. I want to go to store. Keep in mind, man, I've been on a lockdown for almost 2 years. And as much as I want to go to yard, as much as I want to go to store, as much as I want to package, can't do it. Can't do it. We have to, it's on site. We have to get these foods on site, Not to mention that I don't like the cats because of Wasco and all that, right? So, anywho, I get there, man, and you guys heard this story that I told you. Some, maybe a few of you remember when the first time a celly ever checked in on me. He put in a medical slip for me. Anywho, it's the story for a different day. So I had a different celly. So by the time that we were supposed to get off for lockdown, the first unlock, we didn't know what block it was gonna be. We didn't know what block it was gonna be, and so we get out there. We get out there, and when the day came, you could feel the tension. Of course, everything's quiet. They usually release yard about 9 a.m., 9:15. It's never on time, and the reason I knew that it was gonna be that day is because 9:30, 9:40 came around, and nothing. And we didn't know, like I said, who up block was gonna be released. It was like a fucking straight fucking it's a look at the draw. I was in 3 block at the time. So they released 1 block, all Bulldogs. 2 block, all Bulldogs. When they get to our block, the cops come in, they release all the Bulldogs. And I'm thinking, like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, low key, like, don't open our doors, don't open our doors. But I was kind of anxious to go out there, honestly, because I needed some yard time. I had been locked down. I'm telling you guys, I had been locked down for the last 2 years, so I wanted some cage yard. You know what I'm saying? So they start opening homies' doors, and I was like, fuck, here we go. Here we go. And I told my celly, you ready? I'm ready. Let's get it. The celly that I had before that, we had heard rumors that they were going to let us off sooner than that. And the dude got spooked on me because I was making my fierro. I made 2 fierros for us, you know, and he got spooked, man. But I'll tell you about him in another video. So we go out there, man, and I see the homie, man. I made up with the homie, and I start walking with him, man. I had been in New Cork with him. We came at different times, but he had been in New Cork, and so we go out there, man, and so we go out there, and right when obviously they're trying to pat us down, type shit, we go to the handball court. The Bulldogs are 2 Bulldogs are already waiting for us. The rest are just lined up. Kind of like there's kind of like 2 crowds of them, but there was a gang of them, bro. There was about 60 of them motherfuckers. There's a gang of them dudes. 3 full blocks of Bulldogs, and that was their yard, bro. Honestly, that's one thing I will say. That was their yard. We had numbers, but that was their yard because they had been programming. The Northerners got off lockdown, rushed them. Bulldogs stay off lockdown. We rushed them, they stay off lockdown. It had been a back and a systematic thing like that. So they were out there with the jobs, they were out there with the yard crew, everything. They had everything, bro. So we walk up to him, man, and the Bulldog, kind of like tosses the ball. He's like, "What's up, man? You guys ready to program or what?" Boom. The homie's like, "Boom," grabs the ball. He's like, "Yeah, man, we're ready." And that was it. That was our cue, and we rushed. I did my thing, took out my piece, and I was able to hit. I was able to hit the first Bulldog a cool amount of times, but after that, the onslaught came. Onslaught came, bro. But when it was all said and done, and this is not glorifying this shit, guys. You guys already know me, man. Youngsters, try to picture yourself in a situation where you could lose your life, not only by the Mini 14, but by potentially these dudes having weapons or stomping your brains out or something. Prison is not the place to be, man. Trust me, man. Stay out. This is real. All that wanting recognition and putting it down for the value and all that shit. At the end of the day, man, you can love your hood, love where you grew up, but the violence and all the extra shit to make your neighborhood shine, it's senseless, bro. It really is. And we're just fighting each other. So I have about 5-6 dudes when it's all said and done. There's so many dudes on me, bro, that quite frankly, they were getting in each other's way. And that's probably what saved me from getting some real fucking brain damage or something. So anywho, I'm going at it with these dudes. There's tear gas everywhere, grenades. Get down, boom, everything, man. Chaos. There was 12 of us total. And a gang of them. Each one of us had a gang of motherfuckers, man. And there was a few paisas there that rode with us, and I give it to them, man. They got their ass whooped that day with us. They took that ass whooping, and they actually had the audacity to hit me with the a pegada charge, battery with the weapon on an inmate, and the riot shit, and what is it in progress or in connection with the riot, or I forget. I had to check my paperwork, but that's what the 115 said. I ended up beating that because they set us up. They set us up sick, and they knew that, bro. I ended up beating that quinzon. I did the shoot term, get kicked out to the lockdown, and that was that. You know what I'm saying? But that was one of the worst situations that I ever been in prison. Luckily the Bulldogs weren't strapped up. They were programming, bro. These dudes, because I had never been in the prison with a Bulldog or had even heard that a Bulldog was letting other factions rush them so that they could stay on lockdown. And I get the strategy because literally the warden was not fucking around. He's like, you fools are staying on lockdown. The aggressors staying on lockdown indeterminately. And it was a fucked up feeling to not know when you're going to get off lockdown. You know what I'm saying? And aside from the war and this and that, it's just a whole different world, guys. So, just some food for thought, man. Youngsters, you already know, reoffenders, don't go back to that shit. That being said, man, God bless everybody, man. One life saved is one life blessed. A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. Guys, we're pushing out there. Hit those likes, hit the subscribe buttons, man. Leave some comments, share the videos to somebody that you may feel could benefit in their life, man. You guys be good. APA, I'm out.